everyone, this is the first meeting with everyone in TICC. In today's program, we have 4 honorable guests. They are Professor Tian Xianglan, the Director and Researcher at the Institute of Asia-Pacific Cooperation and Development of the Tianjin Academy of Social Sciences. Professor Tian mainly studies the impact of aging populations in Japan and South Korea on global politics and economics. She is also a very well-known scholar for studying post-war world order, particularly in the context of political and economic development in Asia. Our second guest is Professor Hiroshi Shiratori. He is a professor at Hosei University in Japan, and he mainly studies the modern history of Japan. Our third guest is Professor Tae-Gun Park. He is Vice President for Seoul National University Governance Reform, and he is also the Chairman of Korean Historian Association in 2022. Some of his books are Korean War in 2005, Vietnam War in 2015, Ally and Empire, History of U.S.-Korea Relations in 2013. And our fourth guest is Professor Irina Andreeva. She is professor of the Russian Language Department at the Institute of European Languages in Tianjin Foreign Studies University. She has been in the talk show series Tianjin in the Eyes of Foreign Experts in 2018, and she is an invited guest in many other programs and activities. And I am your host today, Ma Xiaohao from School of Foreign Languages, Tianjin University. Our topic today is rights, echoing the theme of 2025, that is the contributions of China in the Eastern Main Battlefield during the World Anti-Fascist War. So speaking the contributions and the role of China during this World Anti-Fascist War, how do our guest speakers think about this topic? Let's start with Professor Tian.
中国抗战呢，对整个战争来说也是产生了一个深远的影响，也对世界反法西斯战争呢做出了巨大的贡献。我就从3个方面概括一下我自己的观点。第一个呢，是中国抗战呢直接制约了德日法西斯的战略协同，牵制了日本的北进计划。就是纳粹德国呢入侵苏联以后，多次敦促日本呢从东线出兵夹击苏联，但是呢，因为日本关东军就是在中国的战场当中呢，持久被受牵制，深入泥潭，无暇他顾。关东军就是1939年的时候，在诺门坎与苏军交战当中呢，也是惨败。这个呢，使他呢对北进也有心有余悸。其实这个事实呢，就由那个俄罗斯国立人文大学的前校长，他叫那个比沃瓦尔，他指出过，在东线战场最困难的时候，中国人民的拼死抵抗呢，完全牵制了日军，使其呢无暇顾及北进。若没有中国拖住日本，苏联可能是面临了更大的压力，欧洲的战局呢也可能由此改写。这是一个观点啊。第二个观点呢是，中国抗战呢为盟军赢得了战略的缓冲，并协同作战支援反攻。这个太平洋战争爆发以后呢，中国作为同盟国的4强之一呢，与欧美并肩作战。中国战区呢不仅支撑了东方的战局，还派出了这个大量的远征军呢到那个缅甸与盟军协同作战。比如从1942年到1944年呢，日本先后投入了将近30万的这个兵力，远征军就是到了滇缅一带啊，在野人山等地呢浴血奋战，打破了日军在东南亚战场的攻势。中国驻印远征军也是率先在缅北发起反攻，成功的光复了腾冲、龙陵一带，切断了日军的补给线，并协助盟军呢收复了缅甸的全境。这一系列战役呢，为东方战场的重要转折提供了一个条件，也就是说创造了条件。最后一个观点， 中国抗战呢，牵制了日军的主力，减轻了盟军登陆作战的压力啊。由于日军呢无法将大量的兵力调往太平洋岛屿作战，盟军的登陆作战呢，就是说它的压力呢大大的减轻。英国的那个牛津大学现代中国历史政治教授拉纳米特当时也说过，在二战的大部分时间里，中国是东亚乃至东南亚一带唯一能够抗日的主要力量。如果没有中国的抗战，西方同盟在亚洲的形势呢，会面临更加的艰难。这句话其实精准的概括了中国战场的重要作用。也就是说，不仅坚韧抗战，而且通过战略牵制和直接的参战呢，极大的支持了盟国的反攻战役和太平洋战争的胜利。总之，中国抗日战争呢，作为世界反法西斯战争的东方主战场，凭借中国人民的顽强抵抗呢，成功牵制了日军的主力，削弱了敌方的战力，为盟国的反攻赢得了宝贵时间。中国战场的胜利不仅为全球反法西斯战争奠定了基础，也为世界和平做出了不可磨灭的贡献。我的观点就这3点。
Thank you, Professor Tian. So basically, before I pass the mic to Professor Bai Niao, allow me to very quickly summarize Professor Tian's view. So according to Professor Tian, the main contribution of China in the Eastern Front of the world anti-fascist war could be understood from 3 aspects. Number 1, it effectively let Japan that time invest less army to the battlefield in Soviet Union that time. Number 2, China made a contribution in helping people in Burma in fighting against the fascist army. And number 3, China's contribution helped the alliance to focus the army in the Europe battlefield. So Professor Bai Niao, what is your view about the China's role and contribution, and what we could do to promote the spirit of the anti-fascist?
Yes, thank you, Professor Ma. That looking back into the history of the 20th century, I think that the most important thing in the World War II in the Eastern Front was that the Chinese showed the importance of the one China policy toward the world. That you showed that even though there is some separatist movement during the World War II, but in the end, there is the one China policy. That is the outcome of those Eastern battlefield, and that is a kind of really important asset in the modern day China, and also in those Eastern Asia as well. So talking about those one China policy, that you shall merge into one China, not to be the separate, is quite important in its enhancement of the economic prosperity of the Eastern Asian field, and also for the future world economy as well. That is what I would like to emphasize. And this one China ideal is keep on going into the 21st century.
Professor Bai Niao, you said just now that the war has brought an asset, that is making a one China. Let's see whether other guest speakers have different opinions on this one.
白鳥先生、はい、
はい
本当にありがとうございました。はい。先生のこのアイディアとか、意見についてちょっと違い意見があります。
はい。
何か東戦争で中国がワンチャイナになるに、いい条件を与えたといった意見ですね、先生の意見。
そうじゃなくて、
はい。
まあ、戦争はありましたけれども、結局、中国は、まあ、分裂しないで一つの
うん。
中国で
はい。
あったっていうことが、やっぱり、この、まあ、第二次世界大戦の一つの結果とし
うん。
て非常に重要だったんじゃないか。で、それが、やっぱりこの地域の
おー。
安定と発展に大きな
は
影響を
い。
与えていったんではないかというふう
ああ、
に思っ
はい。
ているわけです。はい。
はいはい。この意見についてはちょっと、まあ、選定条件ですか。まずは日本軍が中国を侵略してから中国は、あワンチャイナになっていますから、選定条件は日本の侵略。これは、なんというか、無視しなければならない。無視、
無視できない。
はい、無視できない
無視できない。
ですよ。は
はい。
いはい。
もち
はい、
ろんそれおっしゃ
だから、
る通りです。で、
はい、
偽満州国とかね、
はい、
そういったものも日本が作って、こう、中国を分断しようとしたわけですけれども、まあ、
はい、
結果としてやはり第二次世界大戦の結果、まあ、一つの中国っていうのがそのまま存置された。で、その後、第二次世界大戦以降も、この一つの中国原則というのは、日本もア
うん、
メリカも、そして世界も認めていく原則として今まで続いているっていうのは、まあ、一つの第二次世界大戦の結果だったんだろう。もちろん、第二次世界大戦中にですね、その日本の軍隊がいろいろ皆様にですね、ご迷
うん、
惑をおかけしましたことに関して
うん。
は、こちらも本当に、謝罪をする以外ないわけですけれども。
はい、はい。はい、わかりました。先生の意見は先生の意見で、私の意見は、この謝罪と侵略は、今、事実だから、
はい。
事実だから、はい、これは大事だと思います。はい。
So you would like to emphasize that the asset
う
from
ん
the Eastern Front is that China somehow is brought from a separate condition to a solid one, China.
うん
However, as Professor Tian emphasized earlier, this is a passive. This is not, this is just merely an outcome, part of the outcome. It cannot erase the much harm and hurt that the Japanese invasion brought to China back then. So for that point, we should be firm on that.
Well, I do know, well, as I'm a Japanese, so I
Uh-huh.
do apologize, and I do feel regret about what our army had done during the World War II. But yes, so I do not deny that.
Yeah, so yes, let's talk about what we could do to
Mm.
promote this anti-fascist war, the victory of the anti-fascist war. What can we do to promote it? So would you like to talk further about this one?
I want to emphasize that
Mm-hmm.
one solid China is really important to promote the future, the peace and prosperity of the world as a whole. And to promote that peace, we need to construct the liberal world economy, precious for the Chinese nation, and of course, your country is guided by the Chinese Communist Party. So, but if the China is divided, that is somewhat troublesome for the rest of the world. What I emphasize is one solid China, one China policy is pretty important. Well, and that is one of the outcome of the World War II, and also it has been influencing the whole world now in the 21st century as well, and it could be the center of the world economy in the coming century to go on. So I do not deny that.
Thank you, Professor Bai Niao, for sharing with us your view today. So let's invite Professor Park. What is your opinion on this view of Professor
I
Bai
think
Niao?
that China is the most the important and the most crucial actor in the Asia Pacific War. I think that from the early 20th century, actually the war started from the early 1910s, from the Japanese militaries, their expansion to the Manchuria, and then the 1920, actually the Japan, they had some territorial the ambitions both in the Shantung Peninsula and the northeastern area, and there are the several incidents since the 1920. So the Kando, the massacre in 1920 and 1931 is the Manchurian incident, and also 1932 Shanghai, the massacre, and the Nanjing massacre, and the 1937. So as a whole, actually the China is the most serious battlefield during the Pacific War, and the Chinese forces and Chinese people are the most active actors against the Japanese militaries.
Professor, you just said many countries participated in the war, such as the United States, Japan, China, etc. Who do you think made the greatest sacrifice?
I think that we have to think about who was the most serious victims during the World War II. Actually, I think that a lot of people, they believe that the Americans or the other peoples in the colonies or the Japanese occupied area. But I think that the Chinese were the most serious victims of the World War II.
Yes, indeed, as I think Korean people and Chinese people are both victimized during that war, a tragic one. So indeed, it is not the invasion. It is not because of the invaders, but because of people, our people, as well as our mighty leaders. For example, here in China, we have the Communist Party of China, and our party have led the people out of this war in resisting the invaders. And you're very right in emphasizing that actually the solidarity and the soul identity of Chinese people have always been there. As a country of long history, I believe this solidarity and identity have always been there. And thank you, Professor Park. Thank you for sharing with us your opinion. And joining us now is Professor Arina Andreeva. Her first language is Russian, and with the help of translation technology, we look forward to hearing her perspective on this topic. Professor, please.
Образование очень важно, чтобы наша молодежь хорошо знала историю, разбиралась в текущей политике, участвовала в различных патриотических мероприятиях, стремилась укреплять дружбу между нашими странами. Нам, преподавателям, необходимо передать знания о героях этой тяжелой войны, о том, как жили наши страны в эти тяжелые годы, проводить тематические мероприятия, организовывать встречи, посвященные Дню Победы, на которых молодое поколение имеет возможность узнать о подвигах своих предков. Необходимо пробуждать у молодежи чувство сопричастности великому подвигу народа в борьбе за свободу и независимость Родины. И мы это делаем. Мы это делаем каждый год и в День Победы над фашистской Германией, и в День Победы над милитаристской Японией. Никогда нельзя забывать уроки прошлого, и только так мы можем избежать непоправимых ошибок в будущем.
Thank you. Let's all reflect on history, face history, and cherish peace. Thank you all for your participation today and for sharing with us your views. Thank you. See you next time.